Nibin sir, welcome. Sadish sir, welcome. Hello.
அழைத்து செல்வதற்கு முன்னால் செயற்கை சுவாசம், செயற்கை ரத்த ஓட்டம் மூலம் உயிர்காத்து மருத்துவரிடம் கொண்டு செல்கிறோமே, அந்த சில நிமிடங்கள் கோவில்கள் வெளியே செல்லும் முன்னான அந்த நிமிடங்கள் உயிர் போகாமல் காக்கின்றோமே, அந்த கலைதான் உயிர்காக்கும் கலை என்று சொல்லுவது. சரியான நேரத்தில் சரியான முதலுதவி கிடைக்காத எத்தனையோ மனித உயிர்கள் மாண்டே வருகின்றன. பல மனிதர்கள் நிரந்தரமாக அந்த பொன்னான இடங்களில் ஊனமின்றியும் வலியை குறைத்தும் உயிர்காக்கும் இந்த முதலுதவி பயிற்சியை அனைவரும் பெற வேண்டும் என்ற உயர்ந்த நோக்கில் வரும் ஆகஸ்ட் 15 இந்திய ரெட் சொசைட்டி அண்ணா பல்கலைக்கழகம் என்சிசிஆர்டி என்சிசி நேரிய அண்ணா யூனிவர்சிட்டி மற்றும் பல்வேறு நிறுவனங்களுடன் இணைந்து சாதனை பயிற்சியாக 25,000 பேருக்கு முதல் அடிப்படை பயிற்சி அனைவரும் மாறி மனிதகுலம் ஆதரவு தானே. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Very good morning, Perumal sir. Can you able to start the session, sir? Time is 11:03.
Good morning. I think it's better to start.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Because we have to honor the persons who have been joined on time. Thank you, sir. Very good morning. Very good morning, participants. Once again, we have been much delighted to see you all in this on-site emergency plan training. We in VT have been started our journey 4 years before as a research and development organization in the field of disruptive technologies. By that, we have been implementing the technological updation in the field of safety, quality, and also in the type of emerging fields. Last 2 years, we have been having a wings of training wings, audit and inspection wing. From the audit wing, from the audit wings, lot of audits has been conducted based on the training wing. Lots of training regarding safety, quality, technologies has been conducting. Coming to our safety trainings, we have been providing a trainings, basic trainings, okay, first aid and fire training, authorized trainings, to the advanced level of trainings of watertight, confined space, practical and classroom training has been done based on the requirement of the industries. Coming to our sessions today, I've been much delightful to introduce our well-known speaker, Mr. Perumal sir, who has been having a 3 decade of experience on this field of safety. We can able to say it's as a globally. He have been started his career in India. He been served our Indian Navy. From there, he have been went to UAE. Again, he have been worked in Kalpaka. Of various sectors, various exposure. That too in a particular domain of safety. Today, the topic on on-site emergency plan is a very interesting topic. And also, this is the thing which we have to know as a safety professionals, as HR professionals. We have to know that how we are going to make sure that we have been ready for the challenge. We have been ready for the emergencies. How we have been proactively, we have been doing this. We have been going to year, and also the most important part is okay, all the session. I think this is a third month this kind of session has been successfully conducted by our INVIT training wing. Thanks for them. Throughout the session, not only on training, implementation. Okay. The implementation will be guided by our team. You can able to get the checklist once you have been filling the feedback form. With this note, it's my pleasure to hand over this virtual screen to our well-known speaker, Mr. Perumal sir. Over
Thank
to
you.
you, sir.
Thank you, Satya sir. Thank you. We were a little delayed. Normally we start at exactly 11. But today we want to wait for some more time so that our participants can join. But anyway, notwithstanding that, Nibin, you can keep your video off. Okay, as our teammate said that today we'll be discussing about on-site emergency plan. I hope some of you were with me when we were taking a session on IRA, hazard identification and risk assessment, focusing on the present pandemic situation, it is COVID. Welcome. Now the participants are keep coming one after another. Like most of us are in industrial sector, right? Most of us are in industrial sector, and we know what is risk assessment. We know what is permit work system.
म्हटलं की तो सेक्शन करूच नका म्हटलं मग ठीक आहे ना आपण काय बोलू शकतो मग त्याच्यात मला ते
And we know what is emergency, right? When you talk about emergency, there are various kinds of emergency. Emergency related with the process, emergency related with medical emergency, like medical emergency. Fire is being taken as an emergency. If anybody is working in petrochemical industry or oil sectors where there is a possibility of gas release, that also being considered as an emergency. If there is a spillage of containment, that also considered as emergency, right? There are several types of emergency. And when you talk about emergency in general, the emergency are grouped in two major parts. One is on-site emergency, other one is off-site emergency. And today we'll be just seeing about what is on-site emergency, what are the factors you should consider in addressing an on-site emergency, how we should plan, what are the precautions you must take what is your preparedness, how we are going to address the hazards, all those things. But here, what I want to mention that we will not be going in detail. We'll be just touching the key areas, whereas some kind of input will be given that what are the legal requirements, why we are preparing an emergency plan, what is the requirement of emergency rescue plan, what are the roles and responsibilities of emergency response team, and so on. But as we say in every session, that you all know that every Saturday we conduct a webinar session between 11 to 12:30. Every time we say that whatever the doubts you have, you can always contact us through our Invitee Circle WhatsApp group, or you can just mail to our corporate mail also, inviteecorporate@gmail.com. That also you can always refer your doubt. Now, we'll just move on with the title. What is on-site emergency plan, and what are the requirements for preparing an on-site emergency plan? And today's session, we'll be discussing about the legal requirements, emergency response plan, roles and responsibilities, and training and mock drills. And wherever, if you have a doubt, you can always refer through the chat box, or you can just use the raise hand symbol so that we can address then and there. And you press F5.
For screen enlargement, sir.
Okay, okay. Is it okay now?
Sir, you can able to click that button, sir.
I'm
Screen
pressing the
enlargement.
button.
Okay, so it is not
Okay.
happening, sir.
It's not happening. Okay, okay. Is it better now or same way?
Now it's better, sir.
1 minute.
Now it's better, sir.
Now it's better. Okay.
Better.
Thank you. Thanks for the correction, Satya sir. Thank you. Okay, gentlemen. So these are the key agendas that normally when you are conducting a training for an emergency plan, maybe on-site or off-site, it is go for hours together. So we are just trimmed. Yes, idea is to give you some input so that you gain some knowledge. If you're where you are stuck, we'll always guide you and support you. Okay, gentlemen. I hope my voice is clear, audible.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is going to be our objectives? What is going to be our objective with regard to an emergency? And before I get into this emergency, maybe objective or legal requirement, I hope some of you might have come across some kind of emergency in your life. Forget about your industrial part. It's not necessary. See, it is good to have some kind of experience in industry also. But with regard to fatality, casualties are not expected. But however, these things are unavoidable in some cases in industrial sector. But as the word goes emergency, this you might have come across somewhere, either you are during your school time or your college time or at your home or at your working scenario. The situation is going to be changed. The atmosphere is going to be changed. But actions taken by you are only necessary for addressing those emergencies. Correct? You see, if you review yourself that what are the kind of emergency you come across. I'll just give an example. What I come across in industrial sector. When I was in Kuwait, and you know, in abroad, they give a lot of importance for safety with regard to documentation, with regard to training, with regard to OJT, on-job training, everything there will be some kind of importance given. There will be frequent mock drills every quarterly. Despite all that, if there is a real emergency, your mock drills will support you only 40 to 50% if it is done properly. If your mock drills are not done, there will be a lot of chaos. As I said, that I am like to share one of my experience when I was in Kuwait. We were working in brownfield. Yes, in the construction sector, they just divide greenfield and brownfield. Especially in oil and gas industry, they say greenfield and brownfield. Greenfield means there is no construction; it is just an empty land that you are going to build a industry there. Maybe you take a refinery or you take a workshop, you take whatever suits you. That is greenfield. In case of brownfield, there are some activities are going on already there. There is some plant already there, or there are some plant which are already demolished, or you are going to do a kind of renovation in the existing plant, or you are going to do a construction next to the running plant, next to the compressor room, like that you remember. So there will be, this is known as brownfield. This is known as brownfield. So in the brownfield, when you compare brownfield and greenfield, the problems are much more in case if you are working in a brownfield. Because, as I said, greenfield, it's an empty land, no underground facilities, no underground danger you're going to come across. But whereas in the brownfield, you'll find a lot of such things. So we were involved in a construction site next to a running plant. And all of a sudden, there was a process-related fire next to the heater. So, like you can see, in agriculture pump set, when they are pumping out water, water comes like a jet. Similarly, we could see a fire jet of at least 1 meter diameter. So, thrown like it is being just coming out like water. Just imagine that. Like in agriculture sector, if you are using a water, if you are using a pump for pumping water, how it is being thrown. In the same way, the fire of 1 meter diameter has been just thrown into the air. When people come across such situation, they will get into chaos. They will not tend to follow the guidelines what you are given in your procedure, your policies, etc., etc. They all will tend to behave with their presence of mind in that situation. Okay. So what is expected whenever you are formulating emergency plan, you must always evaluate the hazards and risks involved, not only with your activity, with the adjacent facilities also. Like you are working in Sipcat, you are working in an industrial park area, or you are in an organization where already many plants are next to you. So you must consider, when you are formulating emergency plan, you must consider what can be the risk from adjacent industries. What can be the impact of your emergency into the adjacent party? All those things we must consider. And what to do in those scenarios and how to do. What to do and how to do. And see, like we take the records of the past. If there is an activity which are already been done in the past, we'll be just taking the record of the past or the similar industries. Then we know what can go wrong, what cannot go wrong. Like people always say, for road safety, you must follow DDT, defensive driving technique. Correct? So, like what opponent is going to do, that also you must forecast, so that you can save yourself, you can save others also. So that is the word was preparation for expected and unexpected. Gentlemen, wherever you have doubt, just immediately you can just ask me then and there, so that I can clarify your queries. So now we go over legal requirements. So for industry sector, Factories Act is the reference book. Either you take that as a, what do you call, these are going to be our guidelines. Okay. Practice Act 1940, everything is given. So section 41B, subsection 4, that gives guidelines for us that there has to be a on-site emergency plan must be prepared by the occupier, and that should contain a detailed control measure. How we are going to do, how we are going to control it. That is given in Tamil Nadu Factories Act 1948, and this is common for almost all states. Only maybe somewhere it is just mentioned as 1950, somewhere it is mentioned as 1948 amendment, etc., etc. But in general, it is common. In addition, I just given only one example. In addition, because we know nowadays chemical usage of chemical is unavoidable. That has become part of our resources in carrying out our manufacturing, our process. Whatever is there, it has become our requirement, right? So I just given only one example. Provision under Rule 13 of Manufacture, Storage, and Import of Hazardous Chemical, Rule 1989. So similarly, these legal requirements are available in separate act. Like if you take Petroleum Act, that is different. If you are taking tannery industries, that is different. If it is automobile industry, that is also different. So there are multiple acts are available, but your core main is Factories Act, Tamil Nadu Factories Act, 1940. There is no doubt in it. But if you want to go in detail, there are some additional informations are given in the respective act. Like if you are involved in any explosive, then separately PESO Act, Petroleum Explosive Safety Organization, those acts are separate. So depending upon your manufacturing sector, depending upon your service providing sector, wherever you are working, there is some kind of rules are available that we should refer. So in general, Factories Act 1948 under section 41B, subsection 4, which gives a guideline that every industry, every employer must have their emergency plan, which includes how they are going to control. Okay, there are some participants just joined one after other. Just to quickly recap for them. So we are just discussing from the beginning about the on-site emergency plan. That what are the requirements? I was just mentioning about one of my experience which I come across abroad. Similarly, you also might have come across in your life. Yes, even in your home also. The cooking oil is one of the examples. Sometimes what happens, people they just put the oil in the fry pan and they forget. Thereafter they might have just shifted to the TV serial or maybe busy with talking on phone. So the oil fire, I don't know how many of you noticed. Leaving oil in the fry pan after some time that it gets into the auto ignition temperature and the oil which is there in the fry pan will catch fire on its own. Correct? So that is also a kind of emergency which you might have come across at home. So in all those scenarios, how we are going to react, how we are going to control it, that only matters. Now, these are the guidelines which are given in our rules and regulations, what is being promulgated by our government and states. So, on-site emergency response plan will be prepared by industrial unit. And in case of off-site emergency plan, the district authorities are responsible for formulating the emergency response plan. See, first you must know what is the difference between on-site and off-site. Anything which happens within the premises of your organization, all those emergency are on-site emergency. Anything which happens, any kind of emergency, even if there is a road accident, after your industrial premises, all those things are taken as off-site emergency. In case of off-site emergency, the responsibility lies with the district authorities. Okay. In case of off-site, the responsibility lies with the district authorities. Maybe you can Just example, collector, DSP, director, fire and safety, and so on. So, what is going to be the employer responsibility? If any industry, this has been first in kind, the industrial sector, they are going to do an activity like we have been exposed to a pandemic situation. This is not being encountered by us before. This is the first time we are facing this kind of pandemic situation that where unimaginable medical emergency we have seen in life, right? During the first wave and second wave, the impact of the pandemic during the first wave and the second wave, whoever might have thought initially, now our imaginations have been made wrong or it has been failed. The situation goes uncertain, correct? So similarly, in industrial sector, if you are going to perform any activity, first of its kind, there is no such activities being carried out in any industry so far. This is the first time you are developed, you are the designer, you are the developer. In that case, you must keep the emergency plan also prepared. Then only you can get into your activity business. Or there are already industry available. This kind of activities have been carried out already in the past. It is there already in the history. In those cases, you can take 90 days time for preparing your emergency plan with only one condition, that you should not do any process activity. You can just do, you can go for a startup, or you can do your testing, you can do your test, or you can get into your pre-commissioning part, or you can go into your commissioning mode for test, all test purpose only. There is not going to be any production oriented activity without preparation of emergency plan. For that, you are given with 90 days time. Okay, why this 90 days time is given, that you might be understanding now. Yes, there will be a lot of tests, trials, again correction, replacement of parts, something will be going on, correct? So there is any existing activity. If you are going to get into the same kind of business, then you must prepare your emergency response plan within 90 days before the actual activity starts, right? Hope I am clear with this. Gentlemen, hope I am clear with this. Okay, whenever there is a doubt, you can always raise. Okay. Now, as we said that we need to have a emergency response plan. So if you want to prepare a plan, what are the factors you must consider? How effective you are going to make your emergency response plan? The first step is prevention, preparedness, and response. The response time plays a vital role. You might have seen in TV serials, movies, no? Or you might have seen in your real life also. The doctor saying that you might have brought him at least 5 minutes before, correct? Or you might have just brought him 10 minutes before, we would have saved his life. So response time also plays a vital role. So these are the 3 major steps you must keep in mind for a emergency response plan. So prevention part. So how we are going to prevent it? See, like I was saying about hazards and risk, you must be able to identify the hazards and risk. So you must anticipate. You must be able to foresee what can go wrong with your production process, and then analyze those risks. And how it can go wrong, which are the scenarios. So what are the scenarios, that also you must be able to analyze. Some people just muted some people. Okay. So the prevention step, you must be able to anticipate, analyze the scenarios. How best you can control it by using your engineering and design. See, we are not here to fight any emergency. We want to always avoid the emergency. We want to always avoid the emergency. But how it can be avoided, unless if you are not able to identify, you cannot avoid those emergency. Once the hazards and risks are identified, you must be able to correct it at your design stage itself. if the risk or hazard can't be eliminated, it is being part of process, then you must be able to institute some kind of engineering controls so that those probabilities are kept to the minimum requirement. Those are kept to the minimum. We don't want them to have a larger percentage with us. Then, when this part is done, then your preparedness, your policy, your procedures, your mock drills, your measurement, how far you are reviewing your policies and procedures, how you are enhancing the knowledge of personnel on the policy and procedures, what are the communication methods you have so that they are being refreshed now and then. So those things comes under preparedness. The preparedness part, you must ensure that there is a response team also available with adequate emergency equipment. See, there is no point in talking only in paper unless you don't produce them in real. Okay. Like we know, when you want to work at height, safety awareness is one of the PPE to save you in case of any fall. This is the one you teach your people during water training. During confined space, there has to be gas test done, gas has to be done, and ensure oxygen is in safe limit for the people to work. This is the procedure says. And if you don't do in real, then it's of no use. Right? If you're not doing any gas test, what is this? And you're not able to do the gas test because you don't have a gas meter. You don't have a multi-gas meter. So those things should be avoided. The steps to during preparedness part, you must ensure that whatever you spent in paper, all those things are available in real. And third thing is the response time. That how fast you are reacting to the situation. Okay. How fast you are reacting to the situation. That it's not that you are just reaching site. No. You are reaching site, you are able to analyze quickly what went wrong and what you should do. That is very, very important. My dear friends, I have seen this in my experience also that during medical emergency, we received ambulance. Okay, we have ambulance at site, ambulance came, and the paramedic is not able to handle the injured victim. What happens normally, we just come across first aid cases, right? When there is a cut, abrasion, then you go to the first aid, you'll do some kind of treatment, ask you to go back. Okay. But if there is a fracture, still you know how to handle the fracture, use of triangle badge, giving some support plates. But when there is a multiple injury, this fellow paramedic went in spin and he is not able to handle properly. That aggravated his injury further. So the third step is very, very important. Your analyzation part is very good. Your preparedness also excellent. Your response time also very good because you have vehicle to reach to the site. But after reaching site, if you are not able to analyze the situation and institute control measure, again, there will be a failure from our side in developing an emergency response plan. Is it clear, gentlemen? Hope I am clear. Whatever has been just covered so far, I am clear. Is a screen also visible? No, clear and visible. Okay, now, whatever we discussed above, that has been just mentioned in small 6 steps only. See, in case if you are going to develop an emergency plan, how it should be done in just nutshell, only 6 steps. The first step is to assess the size of our industry and emergency. Like see, if you take an industry, you have admin building, correct? You have your mess, your canteen, your there are some people are waiting to join, but I am giving admit that they are not able to join. So if you take any industrial area, you take any service provider also, there will be some kind of admin building where HR sits, your store department people sit, all the your manager people sit. So if you have a paramedic facility, that is going to be separate. Your missing facility is going to be separate. Your actual ware is going to be separate. Your process area is going to be separate. So you must be able to understand size and nature of activity within your premise and evaluate the relevant hazards and risks with respect to the areas. Okay. Then you start formulating a plan. Then you make your procedures, you make guidelines, you start formulating these guidelines to down the line. You conduct a lot of training for them. The standard procedure goes, if there is any emergency you come across, the first job as is to raise the alarm, correct? No? So if there is any emergency noticed by anybody in the organization, maybe a worker or a low-level worker to the top management, the standard procedure is given always is to communicate to others. Correct? How we are going to communicate? Either you are going to use manual call point, you are going to use your manual call point, or you are going to use some people are there still. There are every time getting a message about 3 people, but when I'm inviting them, they are not able to join. I don't know why. Admit all okay. Oh, it's yeah, gentlemen. Okay, fine. Now, I was just mentioning about reporting of an emergency, correct? That how we are going to report the emergency. The simplest option given for us is to raise alarm. Raise alarm, either you go and press the bell or you go and break the manual glass point, MCB, manual call point. So once the manual call point button is pressed, so since it has been interconnected with your fire department, they come to know what has happened there. Okay, then they follow as per your communication protocol, as per your emergency plan. What's supposed to be done, that is done. And appoint key personnel. So when there is a rise, when there is an alarm raised, what should be done? Who should do what? So that is going to be your roles and responsibilities. You nominate some people, correct? How many you are going to form, it's up to your organization. How many numbers you are going to keep for handling emergencies, that is up to you. But in general, there has to be 2 personnel are mandatory. One is your incident controller, other one is your main controller. Incident controller may be at the site, main controller may be from the office, because whenever an emergency happens, which is beyond your control, all the authorities outside your premises need to be contacted. They should be informed. They should be contacted for help. Not only for help, even for alarming them also, even to caution them also. Like you may be knowing that in NLC, recently there was some boiler incident. Last year in Andhra Pradesh, there was one gas release from LG polymer unit. Correct? Yes, even though this has happened within your premises, this is one of your example for on-site emergency, but it is having some impact on the adjacent areas also. So in those cases, you must communicate with the authorities, with the government authorities. You must be able to communicate with the government authorities. You must be able to communicate to your adjoining units, who is working nearby. So all of those things also you must see that. Okay. All those things also you must see. And there should be some emergency control center from where the communication is taking place. Yes, we need report also. So they do the recording part. What went wrong, how went wrong, all those things they'll be keep recording it. So auctions on site, auction off site. So that I have already made it clear to you. Off site, outside your industrial premises or your wherever you are working, that organization premises, outside the organization premises are always considered as off-site. On-site means within your organization premises. Okay. So this is a difference. So why these two are important? Main controller, work controller, main controller, incident controller, because if the situation is out of control, you must inform the government authorities also. So in those cases, you must have these two people minimum, and key personnel depending upon your organization size, nature, number of employees, you must decide. So this I just put it short. At least the 6 point you must remember. Now to see in detail, what are there are some 14 to 15 elements you must consider. These are the 14 to 15 elements you must consider in formulating a plan. Okay. In formulating a plan. Is the screen is fully visible now, or I should reduce the size? Gentlemen? If the screen size is okay, can you see the at least content? Is it visible for the content?
Yes, sir, available.
Okay, thank you.
It's available, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, see, the previous slide you were just seeing in short. That 6 steps, no? That 6 steps are in short. The 6 steps are now little detailing. We are going to discuss. This we are going to discuss in little detail. The first and foremost is leadership and administration. In this kind of situation, if the leader fails, everything is failed. Down the line, everything fails. Or this also I have an example. Like I was mentioning about an emergency in Kuwait. You know, sometime back I was mentioning about an emergency in Kuwait, that where you could see fire jet, like water coming from pump. Similarly, you could see a fire jet of 1 meter diameter, 1 meter diameter, so big it is. What happened? Our site HSE manager went into panic. So the company, the client is not declaring this as an evacuation. You all know there are commonly 4 kinds of emergencies are there. One is fire, you all know about it, fire, okay. And gas leaks also you might be knowing. These two, if it is controllable, the third is your evacuation. Okay. The ultimate is going to be evacuation. Remaining everything will come into this one. Maybe your big quantity of spillage, if there is a leakage of oil from the tank, huge quantity of oil spillage, where you have collected 200 barrels, each drum weighing about 200 liters. All those things will not call for an evacuation. So evacuation is decided by the company. So on which condition, which occasion, where everyone in the plant has to leave and leave the site. Okay. So this was I was mentioning about a refinery, Kuwait National Petroleum Corporation, KNPC refinery, where the KNPC, the company is not declaring this an emergency because they know this kind of problem, how to address, they know. So they are not declaring this as an emergency, whereas our team head wanted to declare this as an emergency. Our team head wanted to declare this as an emergency evacuation without consent of the team. So what will happen if there is an evacuation? Imagine if 2,000 people are working in your area. See, normally in any construction sector, huge number of people are working, correct? No? Construction sector, a lot of people will be involved. In case of once the plant is commissioned, the industry is running, so then only only people, those who are required for operation and maintenance will be there. Remaining will not be there. Okay. So similarly here, what happened? The company did not declare this as evacuation, whereas in the middle management level, people want to declare this as an emergency. So there was a lot of chaos. If 2,000 people you want to evacuate in a bus, if you want to evacuate 2,000 people, you all know that in a bus we can accommodate 50 or 55 people in seating capacity, not standing capacity. I'm just saying about seating capacity. 50 people you can accommodate. Imagine if 2,000 people you want to send, the number of buses, if it has been crowded into the gate, there will be a lot of panic in the gate also. Correct? No? In those cases, what is our aim? We must leave the emergency site, right? And we must go to a safe place. So if your office is located far away from the accident site, for maybe around half kilometer, 1 kilometer. You can just go and settle there. Instead of leaving the whole site, you can just go and settle there. Okay, so that what will happen? If everybody is rushing through the main gate, all the contractors, if imagine there are 5 or 10 contractors are involved in our construction project. All 10 want to rush to the main gate, there will be a lot of problems at the gate. But whereas all the 5-10 contractors will have their independent offices, they will be having their offices at different locations. So if you can move them time being to those locations, so at least you are saving your people from the emergency scene. So that you must remember. So that why I was mentioning this is about the leadership administration. See, in an emergency, the leadership administration part is very, very important. You might be having resources, you have key personnel, you have excellent infrastructure, but if your leader and administration part is not good, again you are going to put people in pain. Okay. Then roles and responsibilities of key personnel. This is also equally important, like your leadership. Okay. See, if the roles and responsibilities are well defined, 90% of emergency can be handled without any problem. 90% of accidents can be handled without any problem. Only thing, they should understand the responsibility and they should perform to the responsibility. Okay. And one more thing also I want to mention here, that there is no point in giving only responsibility unless you are not giving them any authority, then also no use. Okay. If you are giving them only responsibility and without any authority, then also they may not be able to perform properly. Okay. Then what is the emergency action? Okay. And what are the resources you required? Light, power, if the emergency happened in night, how we are going to handle it? Yes, we have light. Then the protection equipment, rescue equipments. What are the method of communication you are going to use? How you are going to communicate inside? How you are going to communicate outside? That also you must consider in your plan. Medical care, medical care at site. And just something we can handle at site itself. That you don't have to rush to the nearest primary health center or hospitals. And this point also very, very important, mutual aid. See, this is possible only with a mutual agreement. Okay. You are also running a company, adjacent to you, there are also a company. If there are 2 or 3, 4 companies in the same sector, in the same area, the same block, where are functioning also, and if you can support mutually either of them, then you are not only saving others' life, you are also using their resources. You do not have to go for an extensive stocking of your resources. See, if the resources, if you depend on only your resources in fighting an emergency, that may not be sufficient. Or you might have to keep in large quantity. You might have to keep it in very large. Okay. Like if you take the case of a water tanker for fighting fire, you have 2 water tankers, each carrying 5,000 gallons. You went for fighting a fire. First tanker finished, second tanker also finished. Then what will you do? Or you have only 1 tanker. So what are you going to do after finishing the tanker? So if there is an understanding with the adjacent sector, adjacent operating units, adjacent manufacturing units, adjacent service provider. Yes, we have a different kind of people in our training session. Yes, we have participants from different sectors. No? So always imagine who is next to you, how best you can help him, how best you can take help also from him. That you must see. Okay, mutual aid. Public relation, correct? Like we just sometime back we were mentioning about that gas lease in Visakhapatnam from the LG polymer unit. So that is going to have an impact on the public. Like in Kalpakkam, nuclear plants are there. Madras Atomic Power Station maps. You all will be knowing about it. Madras Atomic Power Station map shortly. And adjacent that, Bhavani started now. Bhavani also producing power. I was in one of the project in Bhavani for 2 years. Okay. So in Kodangalam also we have nuclear plant. So these plants emergency will have an impact on the adjacent villages, adjacent town, adjacent cities. Okay, so we should be able to have a good relation with them. We should be able to train them also in case of an emergency how they should react. That is what in case of an emergency, real emergency in your manufacturing sector, the siren should be audible for 5-kilometer distance as per the regulation. If there is, if there is a real emergency where evacuation is become mandatory, so the siren should be audible for 5-kilometer radius. Okay. Now, protection of vendor records. This is also very important. So what went wrong? How we are going to prevent? That can be checked only using our records. And if you are missing your records, again we are going to lose our investigation part. Like the aircraft carries a black box. Similarly, what are records you feel which are very, very important, all those things you must protect. Training. See, your leadership is good, administration excellent, the roles and responsibility of people they understood, you have excellent communication methods, you have very good relation with the adjoining industries. But if there is no training for your own people, it is same that you are using your finger for puncturing your eyes. Okay, that will happen. You are only going to damage your eyes with your one finger. That will happen. So there has to be a adequate training. Your training should be such that people understand the content and they react to the emergency scenarios. They should not be panicked to the emergency scenarios. They should be able to understand the situation. They should understand what they should do. If these two parts are done, your problem is reduced by 50%, because our prime aim is to always save lives. Correct? In case of an emergency, our aim is to save lives. Then comes your property. Then is environment. Then comes your property. Okay. So life is first, environment. Then comes your property. So these are the order of priority if you want to give. Okay, because actually they even treat the emergency in different levels. Some company they say category. Some company they say is level 1, level 2, level 3, category 1, 2, 3. So all those things we are not put in this presentation because it varies. It all depends on your management. How they are decided on categories. Okay. Now, whatever plan, whatever policy procedure you have formulated and it has been approved, communicated, all those things should be reviewed as and when required. As and when required means if there is any changes, you must modify. Like you have expanded your working area, you made some additional units in your premises, or you have changed the process. You have made one area obsolete. You don't want to go for anything to do that. You made redundancy, that you remove that from your part. You remove that area only. All those things, whenever taking place, you must modify your plan. If nothing is there, it is going smooth. It means at least once in a year, you must review your plan. Okay, gentlemen. So wherever you have a doubt, please, you can always ask me. As we say, mentioning about the roles and responsibilities. So here I was mentioning about some only at least the bare minimum people are required. What is bare minimum required? This is just one example, just chosen by us. It's up to your organization, authority, how they are going to develop a emergency response team. How they are going to keep the key sailors, right? Like I was always saying, main controller, incident controller, these two parts. So main controller thing, that is your MD, managing director, or CEO, whoever is there. Incident controller is your plant head, who is available in the plant itself. Okay. Other key personnel is like your communication officer. We said no, that if there is something happened within your premises, that is taken as an inside emergency. And if this is going to have an impact on the adjoining unit or on the public, who is living nearby, then you have to communicate to the authorities. So that can be done through your PRO or communication officer. I just given small example only. You can choose whatever the way you want. Security and fire officer, security, fire officer, and safety. Okay. Telephone operators, medical officer, okay. Your administrative, essential work team leaders. See, plant head is one part. Essential work team leaders. Like if there is a hazard risk focused on a paint booth, for example, paint base, a paint shop. Where solvents are prone to fire, correct? Solvents are very prone for fire. So wherever you feel important that this area we are handling some flammable material, this area we are handling some combustible material. During this process, there is a possibility of fire. So wherever you think that there is a probability, based on your step one, you remember the third slide we were discussing about that prevention part. Identification, analyzation of scenario. So depending upon your assessment, you must decide the team leaders. So these are going to be your key personnel. Okay, how we are going to decide key personnel? I just given some small example here. Now, where you have to focus? What are the areas you got to focus so that your emergency plan is coming into use, coming into effect at the time of need. So when there is a need, then it is going to help you. Plant emergency organization. You must have a organogram. What is going to be your emergency organization? Like we are talking about incident commander, main controller, etc., etc. So that you must have some kind of organizational chart, some kind of organization chart, how we are going to handle it. Plant risk evaluation. Here in the chart itself, we can give a different kind of color coding depending upon the severity, red, amber, green, blue. Like we are talking about administrative department. Administrative you can give green color. Okay. Warehouse you can give yellow. Depending upon the area, you can evaluate your plant risk. How we are going to notify, how we are going to communicate with adjoint organizations or within your organization or with the district authorities, with the state authorities. Okay, so there has to be some templates already available with you, and people to whom you are going to nominate, they should know how to use this template, how to report it. Okay. Area risk evaluation. This is also plant risk evaluation is point number 2. The point number 4, it has been put in different color. Area risk evaluation. Other industries nearby. Okay. Like this also I come across once where in our plant there was no emergency. From the adjacent plant, ammonia started releasing ammonia. Okay, ammonia. Ammonia, you all know that the ppm permissible exposure limit is only 30 ppm. If I'm not wrong. Okay. So ammonia released from the adjoining factory because of the wind, because of the flow of the wind. 80% of ammonia is being settled to our area. So the good things when our plant has been designed, they install, even though we are not involved in any ammonia production, we are not using ammonia even for our manufacturing process. Considering the emergency of adjoining unit, we have installed ammonia indicators, ammonia monitors. So whenever the release of ammonia is beyond the PL, permissible exposure limit, the indicator will start giving alarm. There will be siren also automatically. So we can understand that this emergency is not due, this is not come out of our process. This is coming out of nearby industry. So that can be, we can decide that also you must focus. See, why I am just stressing upon this, if you know the adjacent operating industry can release a gas which is toxic in nature, which is toxic in nature, which can cause some harm to the human being. Even though it is not required for your organization, still you must install some kind of sensor, some kind of indicators, or some system in your boundary so that you can come to know that something went wrong into the nearby unit, so you can caution your people. Gentlemen, my dear participants, this point why I'm just still stressing out, because I have come across not once, I have come across 4 to 5 times. Apart from abroad, even when I was in Bhavani also I faced this problem. Okay. So you must, Bhavani means Kalpak. When I was in Kalpakam, that time also I faced the same problem. From the problem due to the other contractor, we are also suffering. Okay. So you must see that. So you must understand what are the emergency equipment and facilities required for fighting that fire. That also is one of the areas you need to focus. Then procedure for returning normal operation. Okay, emergency is done. How we are cleared the emergency, how we are making the area safe for others work, how fast, how better you can make people to go back for normal. That also very equally important, because see, nowadays you take any business, every business sector is saying that they are running loss, correct? Only very few we can count, other than those who are technologically supported, with IT supported. Other than that, maybe now pharma is in, booming because of demand of medicine. Pharma may be booming in some sector. Otherwise, you take, yes, we here also in Srivirumbuttur product I went for training couple of industries. They always say, you're not getting profit like before. Okay. Everything is problem. Like why even for mask they're giving only 2 masks for the whole month. Okay. Even though the mask is washable, it is as good as N95. It is not N95, it is as good as N95 with the triple layer, etc., etc. But they are giving only 2 masks. 1 mask for wearing for the day, other mask you can wash it and keep it in your premises. Next day you change. That's what they are saying. All cost impact. So idea is to address the emergency and ensure that our team is back to normal work. That is also important. The whole 6 points are depend on your training and drills. If the team, your working team is not understanding the emergency, what they should do, how they should be able to face that emergency, how to react to the emergency, how they can support and control the emergency. If they are not understanding that, then our emergency plan is a big zero. Okay, gentlemen. Hope whatever is covered so far is clear to you. It is just a chart for your understanding. Like same that main controller, incident controller, the one which is put in green, chief incident controller, site incident controller, whom they should report, who they should report, how they should report, where it is two-way communication, where it is one-way communication. So all those things are just given. Let's see, the off-site is always a one-side communication, that we should only communicate to the district authorities, maybe collector, maybe the director of fire and safety, superintendent of police, to any one authority we are going to communicate, depending upon the area where we are going to work. I hope you all know that every area is coming under one inspector of factories. Like the safety of the industry is being governed by Department of Industrial Safety and Health, DISH, which is located in Guindy, Chennai. And they have posted inspector of factories in several areas, almost all districts you can say. They have inspector of factories in several locations. So to whom we should communicate, how to communicate. So your communication system also should be made perfect. See, if you take this chart, only one part is one way, remaining all are right. The support system, Like site incident control will have support system, administration, communication, fire safety, HSC, operation team. Like we mentioned key members from the workforces, then medical team. So contractors, who the subcontractors. Now most of the company they are outsourcing people, right? So most of the company they are outsourcing the people. So what are who are the contractors working in the area? How they are going to control them? Okay. Now this we have discussed some time back also. How frequently we should update our emergency plan. When we should update our emergency plan, we have seen already, correct? Wherever there is some changes, you must get into that. If there is no changes, you are just running normal, then at least once in year. With this, I have finished, gentlemen. Anybody have any question? Yes, I am planning to have a gap analysis. We have a gap analysis template. I just shared in the screen so that you can do a self gap analysis of your organization. You can do it yourself, and you can understand that where we stand, what can be done, what improvement needed, okay, what additional support required. So all those things you can just work out yourself. Yeah, gentlemen. Anybody have any doubt? Please, if you can ask me now. Any doubt, gentlemen? किसी का कोई डाउट है तो पूछिएगा. कोई भी डाउट आपको मन में है तो प्लीज आपका डाउट यहाँ शेयर कीजिएगा. हम आपका जो जवाब हम दे सकते हैं. यदि अगर तुरंत यहाँ देने लगे तो हम इधर दे देंगे, नहीं तो हम बाद में भी आपका कन्वे कर सकते हैं. आपका मन में अगर कोई डाउट हो तो जरूर पूछिएगा.
Sir, Satyanarayan sir from Skip to Korean sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Please go ahead.
Sir, you told that the siren should be audible for 5 kilometers, sir.
Exactly, yeah.
Sir. But in an on-site emergency plan, it's inside the factory only, sir. If it is audible near 5 kilometers, now people will be thinking about that. It may be a problem to the factory like this, and mitigating the situation will be difficult in the public. How to do, sir? That one, sir. Any statutory things, sir, regarding audibility?
Very good. Thanks for asking this doubt. Because see, this 5 kilometer audible business only for off-site emergency. Off-site, keep in mind. See, because of emergency within on-site. See, emergency is within on-site, but this impact is going to be off-site. Like I was mentioning about the gas release from the LG polymer at Andhra. You remember? Last year in the month of May or June, many people on the road, they were just standing and they collapsed. You remember? I think some of you might be remembering.
Sir.
So in those scenario, your siren should be audible for 5 kilometers. In all other cases, if there is small fire, if there is a small process related emergency within your premises, within your on-site, no need for that siren. That siren, whatever you are going to sound, that is only for your premises only. I hope now your doubt is clear.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Anybody, gentlemen? Anybody else? Any other doubt? Anybody else? Yes, I'm just taking a couple of minutes more also, so that if anybody is having doubt, they can still ask me. Okay, no problem. If then shall I go with the gap analysis? I'll just show a template. You can just see yourself, and you rate yourself. There, I just put around 18, 19 points only. You can just go through that. Just say yes, no, partly. If it is yes, you take 1 mark. If it is yes, you take 2 mark. If it is no, no mark. In case partly, you take 1 mark. The marking, scoring is up to you only. You decide yourself that where you stand. Okay. You just decide yourself that where you are standing. I'll just share the template so that you can have a look. Okay. Shall I stop sharing the screen now? Siv Subramanian, you're in line. Mr. Siv Subramanian. Mr. Siv Subramanian, are you there? No problem. I'll just stop.
Yes, I am online.
Okay, you just respond to me because I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Then I'll share one Excel sheet. Okay, if it is visible, you just let me know.
Not visible.
No, wait. I'll share now. I'll share now. Is the Excel sheet visible now?
No, no.
Not visible.
Not visible.
Okay.
Not visible at.
One. Just now it should be visible, right?
Yeah. Now it is visible.
Okay, gentlemen. See, I thought of sharing in the chat box, but 10 points I'll just share so that you can quickly do a self-analysis of your company yourself. So there are description of checkpoint. Yes, no, partly. Wherever you feel yes, you just give 2 marks. Wherever it is partly, you take 1 mark. Okay, gentlemen. So just do it yourself, and you can give the score mark in the chat box so that you can understand, or you can do it yourself. If you don't want to share it, also no problem. At least you can understand yourself. Okay. Like I have mentioned, availability of legal standards. Why I mentioned this? Depending upon the manufacturing sector, the legal standard requirements are little varying. Okay. If you are involved in any hazardous operation, there are some operations are listed in Department of Industrial Safety and Health website. You can refer to that. Around 22 to 24 activities are being mentioned. Hazardous operations. So all those operations need some additional control measures. Okay. So you can refer that website also. So that's what I just mentioned. Availability of legal standards. One is, see, for in general for every one of us, Tamil Nadu Factories Act is applicable. In addition, those standards are also applicable. So wherever you have, you can just say yes, no, yes, no. Okay. Once if you're finished, then I'll just move up after 10 points. I'm just giving 1 minute time. 1 minute you can go through very easily. Shall I move up?
Hello. I am not able to mark it. I am not able to give the mark.
No. You just do the small paper yourself. Don't mark it here. You just do it on a paper.
Acha.
Don't try to do on the screen itself.
Okay.
Just do on a small keep a paper. Only thing this 10 points. If you have read already, I'll go to the remaining points. Shall I move, gentlemen? Other participants, can you also can give your opinion. If you're okay with this, then I'll move further. All you got is just yes, no, partly. Huh? like emergency response plan available. Yes, team is there. Resources, you have emergency resources. Emergency contact numbers, you have a communication chart. Roles and responsibilities understood by the people. Layout, emergency layout and assembly point, you have already and displayed. Training for emergency team, yes, no. Mock drills for staff and team, yes, no. Okay. Then these are the point 11. Is there any sharing of lessons? Sharing of lesson learned. So whatever is learned, see, like there are some industry, they have their manufacturing plants in different areas, correct? You take the case of TVS having in Sriperumbudur, Varagadam, Cheyyar, then near to what you call Ramapuram, TVS in Padi. So they have different areas, correct? Like if you take the case of Hyundai is having one big plant separately, Mobis separately. They are operating in Korea also. They are operating in other countries also. So there should be some kind of lessons learned, shared from them. That the idea is that you must learn from others' mistake also. Okay. Idea is that you must learn from others' mistake. Okay. Sharing of lesson, it is not necessary that always you should happen in your organization. You must be able to learn from others' mistake. Okay. So that is what it is mentioned there, sharing of lessons learned. Then mode of communication, what kind of mode of communication you are using. Okay, that is very important. In case of okay, mobile nowadays it mobile become very common. Otherwise, do you have any radio set? Emergency siren systems available. If it is inside emergency, no need. This emergency audible 5 kilometer distance. It's only for offsite. Whether you are keeping your records related to training, testing, mock drills or not. Checklist for carrying out inspection of your firefighting system, emergency resources, and whether do you have any adequate knowledge on the hazards from the adjacent industry. Is there any mutual aid agreement among firms? So if you have already made an agreement among them, then it is also very good, because see, in case of real need comes, only paper speaks. Huh? Like we always say, no, if you want to carry out your work, you always make permit of system, because you are making the custodian and contractor both accountable. Otherwise, what will happen if there is any problem? They will say, I didn't tell you why you do this job. This will say that you only tell me for doing this job. So all the blame culture will start there. So to avoid that, there has to be some paper, legal document. Okay. So if you want to, if you are already agreed in principle among the mutual companies, you can always do this also. Okay. Anything, gentlemen? Anybody? Any other doubt, gentlemen? I'll just share some link in the chat box. So that you can give your feedback.
Sir, Perma sir.
Yeah, Satya, back. Very nice. Okay, thank you. Okay, Satya sir, are you free now?
Yes, sir, I'm free, sir. Thanks, sir. Thanks for a wonderful session. Wonderful inputs on on-site emergencies. Because on-site emergencies is one of the very important thing as a safety officer, HR persons, they have to know. Once we have been having the proactive reactions, once we have been having that proactive preparation, yes, we can able to make sure that our people has been saved. It's not only our employees, throughout the peoples in and around our factories has been saved. Thanks for it, sir. Thanks for a very interesting session. With your permission, sir, with your permission, can I able to share
Yeah,
our August 15th
yes, you
event,
can
sir?
go ahead. You, Satya sir, you can take over from me now. You can, I'll stop sharing the screen also now. You take over the session and you continue.
Acha, Perumal sir, can I give my feedback?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Acha, actually, myself Shiva, I also have more than 30 years of industrial experience. I also worked in defense for 20 years. In most of the defense establishment, we used to do the mock drill practices and everything. And we experiences fire also. And we react as and when fire is coming on our site or at our workplace. Then after retiring from the defense, I worked in Suslan Energy Limited as a site manager. In fact, in civil society, they are not practicing or doing mock drill effectively. Because of that, we are facing lot of accident, incident, and various other fires. Even I faced many things because of lack of education, lack of awareness about fire and various accident, falling from height and other things. Because in India, the importance for safety is not given that much. Even in our factory also, people do not give importance for firefighting exercise or mock drill and any other thing, because until unless they face that situation or fire accident, they are not proactive to implement firefighting systems and everything. Like whatever today we have learned, many of the companies may not be having all such legal documents or procedures we are following. But it is our duty, being a manager or let it be fire like safety officer or HR manager, we must ensure that all these things are at least practiced once in a month. Fix a date, first week of the month, after getting their salary, make them to stand and at least give a lecture, maximum at least awareness program about operating of our like firefighting systems. Because whenever the fire is happening, they are agitated to fight the fire, and they simply get into panic and they try to run away till the time firefighting like fire brigade is coming. By the time the fire spreads all over the factory or the fire is spread most of the places, and the fire accident is becoming very serious, and even casualties are happening because of unawareness about the firefighting. So let us take little importance to give the firefighting awareness program to our employees so that we can prevent fire accident and casualties in our workplace. Once when a fire is happened and any casualties happened, after that we have to run behind all the authorities to solve the issues. So I request those who are online, please educate your concerned team and our people to pay attention on firefighting procedures. Thank you for
Thank
giving
you.
this opportunity to attend. I hand over the mic to Mr. Perumal.
Thank you
Shiva,
so much, sir. Thank you. Satya sir, you can take over.
Thank you, Shiva sir. Thank you for your wonderful feedback. Yes,
Okay.
we as a human, we have to save others based on our proactive preparations. My dear participant, my dear leaders, as you have been aware that August 15th, we have been making a world record attempt on CPR live training, a skill for all to save all, 30 minutes of training. We have been aiming for 25,000 plus participants in that. if you want to be a part of it, or if you want your organization to be the part of it, I can able to share you the link below. You can able to you can able to register there, and then you can able to make sure that you have been a part of that training. And also the next week, okay, the next week, as we have been planned, we have been planning for a very good session on the topic of immune system, how to develop your immune system naturally. Because the media has been talking about the third wave, how we are going to protect ourselves, and also they are telling that the third wave is going to be affected the children's only. How we are going to do that? How we are going to protect them? It is in our end. So what we are going to do that we are going to have a session on how to improve the immune system for our loved ones. You can able to share. You can able to register in this link, which I can able to post now. And also, I've been posted a common link, two links. One link on Google reviews. Why Google reviews? Okay, why Google reviews? To make sure, okay, to make sure that the good things have been spread throughout the world or throughout our country. Okay, let them know about this. Let them go to our YouTube channel, and they can able to see through it to empower our society in a way that no unsafe acts and no unsafe condition has been prevailing. With this regards, thank you. Thank you for attending this session. If you have any doubts or any clarification, surely you can able to mail our training team can able to be in contact with you. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. My dear participant, kindly ensure that you have been filling the Google review and also the registration for next program. And also you can able to give your feedbacks also through the mail. Thank you.
பெருமாள் ஒரு வெபினார் அட்டன் பண்ணேன். அந்த வெபினார்ல நம்ம 24ஆம் தேதி